video, I want to show you how to complete the ceilings. It's one of the last things, if not the last thing, that you should do in your model. Ceilings often get overlooked, especially by junior designers, because we're so focused on what's happening on the floor and the walls that we forget to look up at the ceilings. But actually, ceilings are great opportunities for design, so please do not forget them. I like to think of ceilings in terms of layers, and when working with 3D software like SketchUp, you really need to break it down. So ceilings, I feel, should have varying height, and there's nothing more boring than a ceiling that's one height all the way through. So try to find a couple areas in your plans to spice it up a little bit. Now, I really like soffits over things like breakfast bars because it brings a lot of emphasis to that area, and that's one of the major elements and principles of design, emphasis. So drop down ceilings, we also call those soffits, especially when they're kind of small in nature. They're not like the entire ceiling dropping down. It's just in a specified area. Soffits can be functional or aesthetic in nature, but I think for the most part it can be multifaceted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the architecture here. I'm going to go up above. So I have this really great place to add a soffit right here, so it's really good to align architecture. And then what I'm also noticing is that there's a slight curve down here, so maybe that's something that I can play with as well. So what I want to do is I want to determine how far I need to do this soffit. Now, could I do a soffit that's just right here? Sure, but I think it'd be more effective to align it with the current architecture. So I'm going to take this rectangle and I'm going to place it on the corner, and I'm going to bring it straight across following that green line, and then I'm going to open it up. And so I'm looking to see what sizes that I have. So I'm going to try and align it a little bit with this countertop just to see. Alright, so my dimensions at the bottom right hand corner are showing 14 foot by 2 foot 10 3/4. So I like working with whole numbers, and 3 feet is only 2 inches away. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 14 foot by 3 foot rectangle up here on the top. 14 foot, comma, space, 3 foot, enter, and there's the rectangle. So just to show you what this looks like, that is what we're going for. So of course I could pull this down, but I did want to create maybe a little bit of a curve at the top. So I'm going to use this 2-point arc right here. So it's 3 points, and then I can decide like how defined I want that. So I don't think I want it too defined. Something kind of like that, just to emulate what's happening down below. I'm going to use my eraser tool to get rid of this line, and so then it's one nice big shape. And then I'm going to push it down. And then I can decide how far. I'm going to start with 2 feet. What does that look like in this space? That's actually really nice. It keeps the kitchen fairly open, and it's not feeling like it's like going to be right on top of me if I'm sitting here. And it'll give it a nice opportunity for me to put some pendant lights right underneath. So that is basically all there is to creating a soffit. Now, of course, you want to put finishes and everything onto it, but what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and triple click. So I select the whole thing, and again, make a group. Always try to make everything that you create a group. That way, when we go to add the ceilings, which I'm going to do here shortly, it's not going to stick. There might be changes that I need to make, so that's why we do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this with a rectangle. Now you'll notice that it's kind of gray, and then when we go in here, so I'm going to have to use the section tool so that I can actually show you guys. So here's a section. I'm going to place it right here. Just hit OK, click, use the move command, and bring it in so that then I can kind of see what's going on. But you'll see that the ceiling is white. So there are a thing called faces in SketchUp, and if you click on a face and you right click, you can actually reverse the face. So if you want white on top and gray on the bottom, you can do it that way. So actually everything that you've been creating has had a white side and it's had a gray side. So you can decide which one is which. I'm going to keep it on the gray right here. And that is basically how you add your ceilings. So I always place the soffits first, wherever you want them, and then the rest of the ceilings are just room by room, and you just trace it. So I'm going to move this guy back out again. And I'm just going to keep him there because you never know, I might need it. You can go ahead and group that if you want to. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm going to trace the top here. And you got to be careful when you get over here to this curve. And I'm going to switch to the arc. So remember, you start it, you end it, and then you finish it. And there is that. So I'm not worrying about the colors right yet. When we go to take a floor plan view, we're going to be hiding the ceilings anyway, so don't worry about it. So it's the same thing here. You're just tracing that top, watching for where your full height walls are. And again, if you want a soffit in your bathroom, like maybe over the toilet, that might be a good idea. But this video is just for demonstration purposes more than anything. Come on, go, you little guy. Looking for purple circles, they turn green. Now, if you're more advanced, you're going to put lights in these ceilings. That's super important to have. I know things like podium and stuff is an add-in that you can use to make this look photorealistic. I have not personally gotten into SketchUp quite that far. But basically, that is all it takes to add a ceiling. And then if you need to have access, you can always use a section plane on the top. Click OK, and you can always click on it to make it blue, and you can always move it down as you need to. But honestly, right here, we have that. My section plane is showing black. If you want to play with how this section looks, you can come up to view and you can look at section planes, section cuts, and section fills. You can also look at edge styles and face styles. So shaded with textures, shaded, kind of up to you. So there's some things to play with in order to get your section to look like this. And again, if you want to put lights in, so you can add chandeliers, you can add pendants, you can add recessed cans, all kinds of stuff. You can take it pretty far, but it's good to have a ceiling on because when we go to do perspectives, you'll need to see a ceiling in it anyway. So this is the basics of how to do a ceiling.